Thank you, Rahul, for joining us today. It's a real pleasure to have you with us. And I would like first to introduce you to our audience in my way, let's say. You reframed architecture away from spectacle toward care, and you are an Italian architect, co-founder of TAMassociati, leading voice in impact-driven humanitarian architecture. You were born in Milan, educated at Yale Faculty of Architecture in Venice, and you did a lot of work standing in healthcare community facilities, especially in the fragile context. And you are the adjunct professor of design architecture at the University of Trieste since 2019 and 2019, and a lot of other initiatives as well. So, your achievements started from, I believe, before 2013, but let's start with 2013. You won the Aga Khan Award for the Salam Center at Khartoum, the Kari Stone Prize for the Social and Environmental Sustainability in Global Projects, and in 2014, you won the Architect Italian Award for Zumtobel, recognized for ethical and sustainable practice. In 2016, you did the Italian Pavilion in Venice Biennale about taking care. And in 2025, you just won the Lifetime Achievement Award for the TRT World Citizen, which is amazing. We congratulate you for all these achievements, and we're very happy that you are with us. You challenged architecture. You didn't challenge actually architecture, you just hit the core of it, practicing around several cities and places around the world, especially the fragile contexts like Afghanistan, the Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and many more. And this is where we are today. We are trying to understand and to explain more to the world what does it really mean to work in such contexts, and how do we see architecture from this very true position. Um, this is how I can introduce you for now. But I think that it will be ideal that you introduce yourself the way you want, and you tell us what is really behind this mindset and this way of thinking. Is there's any specific moment or place, a human, as you always say, that that shaped this story and this path, and that made you the architect you are today?
Thank you very much. Um, First of all, I introduce myself. I would say that I am an activist, a citizen, first of all, and then an architect. And I put activist as first point because I strongly believe that our activity as architect is driven by the idea of being activist and citizen of this world. So that why we consider our work as architect as a service to create, let's say, a better world. And so the goal is not the design in itself, architecture in itself, but to try to put the people, and especially the people in need, as uh, the first element of designing a project. Um, when did this start? Long time ago. Um, I have been always an activist and an environmental field, especially at the beginning as ecological activist. But in the 80s, when I was at the university, there was a sort of shift from having architecture as a social discipline to more and more to a commercial um, discipline. And we were in the time of postmodern, in time of the growing individualism. And so I was really feeling not comfortable in that stream of history that then it grows with globalization, and globalization not necessarily is a bad thing. Well, we consider a good thing if we have a globalization of rights of humanity, but basically there has been a globalization of the capitalist system. So more and more we start with my team, with my partner, with my friend, to try to imagine how we could be part of a transformation of the world in a positive way, and try to be more and more social orientated. At that time, we were doing a magazine called Utopica, that is a merge of the word utopia and topos from Greek, that is the place. So we have been all our work has been driven by this concept of imagining something better for the world and do it. So very practical. So basically, we always have been in between this two idea of being very political, very citizen, activist, and be engaged in all the movement with the NGO, cooperative, fair trade, economy, ecology, and so on, with the idea of showing how through architecture is possible to show this utopia for the future. It has been quite hard at the beginning because basically more and more in the 90s there, the world of profit, the capitalist and consumist system was more expanding all over the world, and there was somehow less and less attention to the people in need, especially talking of architecture. So we have that big phenomena of Archistar, of this growing super fancy building, superstar, and of doing more and more exaggerated building. And we made a step back, going to be more to use parsimony in design, in concept, in our way of acting and being an architect. I don't know if I answered to your question.
You answered big time. And I have many questions after this answer. So, what is utopia
Go
for you
ahead.
today? What is utopia for you today?
Today it's very difficult. I think that the we have to go back to the stream that it happened after the Second World War, of the international community of trying to to have rules uh, that are agreed by the humanity. I'm talking of the Declaration of Human Rights of in Italy for the Constitution. That right now is the really somehow we are getting more and more blind to that. So right now, utopia for me is try to relink to that idea of a possible common ground for the future, all over the planet. So um, it it is something very practical. For instance, just to go back to keep in mind the human rights, the Declaration of Human Rights, and it is a good starting point. It can be then, okay, we can agree and disagree on some point. It was a document built up after the war, mainly designed by the winner of the war, the most capitalist countries, and so on. But at least there was a will that within that idea, we had the UN, the that with all the limits of the UN, it is one of the greatest utopia of this of the last century. And so and right now it seems to have no value. Now, right now, the only value is force, how many power you have, how many weapons you have, what is your power. And I think that we have to go in a completely other direction. We have to change direction and go completely to another other direction.
Yeah, I totally agree actually. And concerning this part exactly, when you designed, for example, the pediatric center in Sudan, and here we can see several pictures about. So I would love to ask more about the healing in architecture when we discuss it, like in places marked by war, poverty, displacement, fragile healthcare, and the fragile system that we have in the world today. So how do we approach the architecture of healing in this case? And after all these years of experience that you had, do you truly believe that architecture can heal, or it can only accompany suffering and but with dignity?
Why healing architecture? And I would say, why not? You know, if you're suffering, you lost everything, you're living in a refugee camp, or but this is not necessary in a war-torn area, it can be also in our city. You know, you want when you get to a hospital, you're weak, you're suffering, and you want to to go in a place that is taking care of you. And the first thing you see is the building in itself.
Yeah.
So if you see a beautiful place, a place of care and love, the first thing you feel relief. You say, well, okay, if I get into this hospital, somebody will take care of me because the building is clean, for instance, is has nature, has good proportion. And so this is so simple, so basic, and but so revolutionary. And when we start our experience in designing in Sudan with the NGO, I'm working with Emergencies, an Italian NGO. The chief of the organization unfortunately passed away some years ago, Gino Strada. He was saying, "I want a hospital outrageously beautiful." You know, and that at that time, we're talking on 2004, it was somehow a revolution, you know, because poor people or poor people in need in terms of architecture, they were just given building that, but beauty was not part of the goal of to share. So I understood and I learned through this my great master. He was a surgeon and not an architect. That architecture can for sure change the perception of the building, the space, and also in terms of time for the people that are getting into a hospital. And this is a relief. You know, I remember when I was in Afghanistan, in Kabul, you know, it's a super crowded, tense city, and I mean, you feel the tension of the war that is around, that it was around at that time. And when you get to into inside the hospital and you have garden, you know, you have a clean space, you have immediately the feeling that you are relief, you are safe, you are protected. So, for instance, for this building in Port Sudan, the idea was very simple. Instead, we are in this in the middle of a huge refugee area in the middle of the desert. So all the effort has been not to design a hospital, but to design a garden. And that means also all the technical part to recycle the water. Then, of course, beauty, ethic is linked with the technological part. So With the NGO, we decide to make a water treatment plan to allow to have a garden and to have trees, to have a garden in the middle of the desert, in the middle of refugee camps. It is a sort of miracle. So, of course, we are not saving people. Of course, we are saving people inside the hospital if it's possible. But at least you're giving to these people that have that has lost everything, where their future is very short. The idea that there is a trust in them because you are spending money, you're spending energy to design a beautiful building. So somehow it's just giving a hope to them, you know. So it is very simple. Why not? Why not invest energy, resources, and money on the future, on the people that need a future? And architecture is the first thing that people are testing, they are seeing, they're walking, sleeping. Then, of course, part of this process is very much linked with the quality of the health service and so on.
Yeah. And and that's exactly what I was thinking about when we restore dignity or when you design for this kind of people that they are very vulnerable and maybe some of them they are facing illness, displacement, traumas, or maybe last days of their life. So the first architectural gesture that preserve or restore their dignity and remind them that they are still fully a human being, what would it be like? It is the hope that the or feeling safe or
Well, you're restoring hope. You make them feeling safe, and they have a sort of uh, break in their life. You know, the garden of this hospital is the only loan they have in the whole area where children can enjoy the grass. You know, so it is a sort of gift to the people that are struggling the whole day. And so architecture can become a small gift.
yeah. um I got it. So and this is another project also that you did along with the Renzo piano, and it was also a complex project which is rooted very much into sustainability on a main level. How was the experience of this project? What do you want to show the world or the audience about it mainly?
Well, it has been an extraordinary experience because the first building I saw when I started to study architecture was the San Pompidou that was just built by Renzo Piano. So you can imagine that has been such a big experience to work with him. And he was really, really, um, I mean, so modest in to work on this project, and he worked very hard on the project. So it has been, first of all, a great experience as an architect, as a human being, and also it has been an extraordinary technical experience because in one of this table, as you can see in the picture, that in a sort of participatory design session, we decide to use the excavation soil to build the building with the to build the hospital with the rammed earth technique. And this was a big challenge because I think that at the time we opened the hospital, I think it was the biggest rammed earth building in the world. But it has been somehow a part of a research on trying to renovate the building technology. In this case, the rammed earth to somehow to share this experience in order to work in this in the for instance in the African country to reimagine the possibility of using natural material for the construction. And this has been a big lab that, of course, was also possible because of the really the engaged of the studio or studio piano and of the NGO. And I must say this has been a pure experience of merging ethic, aesthetic, and ecology in one building.
Yeah, that's very clear. Um, I will move to the other building as well, which is the health center and the refugee camp in Iraq. I know how hard it is to do it, and in such context, like there is a question that comes to the beauty, and we discussed beauty several times before, especially in the context of war, and when architecture's first role becomes like no longer to inspire or to simply do something very original and so on. It's to protect life, which is a shelter, and it must be visible enough to say that this is not for bombing. Do not bomb. This is a protected place. What happens to beauty in this equation? Like, can beauty
Ah.
really still exist in such a condition?
Uh, it is a sad point. I mean, in the last years, um, if you check the numbers of health building victims of the war, the number is increasing enormously. You know, in the First World War, there were 5%, 20% in the Second World War. If we are talking now with Sudan, it's almost 80%. In Gaza is 90.5% of health construction that has been become victim. So I think this is we have to stop and think about, because this is somehow a point where uh, going back to the idea of the human rights also of Geneva paper that was precisely protect the health construction and also education construction, that means schools. So I would go back to the idea of utopia. Yes, this is just an utopia that is doesn't deal with one specific war, one specific country. It is a barbarian that is going through the world, and so our experience that when I start to work 20 years ago in health facilities in, let's say, war-torn area, health facilities were quite safe, at least psychologically. Of course, you are never safe in a war, but in recent time, unfortunately, we know health facility become target.
Yeah.
And so this is, yeah, this is for me the sign of a growing barbaria. And so the of course, building are never safe, and then beauty it doesn't. I mean, if if the building is beautiful or not, if it's well built, if it's nice, if it's important, if it becomes a target. Uh, I mean, where is humanity then? You know, I'm really asking from the deep of my soul. And when you see hospital destroyed, you are destroying the future of the people that are in that hospital, but also the future of the people that will need the hospital in the future. So, um, this is a sad reality of nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. I can't agree more. Unfortunately, I hope that that we'll have a better world to live in. And I will move to the other project, which is the Salam Center that won several awards, and the Aga Khan Award in 2013. And I know that this building also it means a lot to you. So my question would be about it exactly. What did this project teach you about peace, about medicine, about architecture altogether? Like, how was it?
But well, this is somehow the first project I did in Sudan, and Sudan is a place I really love. And unfortunately, nobody's talking about what's happening in Sudan, but unfortunately, it is a huge drama, unknown and drama. And what is extraordinary of this project that why okay, I'm very happy we won the Aga Khan, and the Aga Khan has been an extraordinary recognition of the effort of this building. This is a building that survived during the war. It never stopped. It never stopped the activity of surgery, cardiac surgery, and it became a hub uh, between. It was really on the front line. And I'm really proud of this, that this building survived because it was respected by the two parts in the conflict and helped the population. It has been the only outpost for the local population, and I'm really proud to say that it's still there, still working. It has been working for the cardiac surgeon, the pediatric surgeon, the war victims. So it has been quite resilient in changing the activity right in the middle of the war. And so that for me, it's the best recognition, much more
Yeah,
of the any prize, because that means that somehow the 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 two part in conflict, they recognize that this was a common good for the people of Sudan, and thanks also to the incredible work of the NGO that stayed there through the war with the international staff and with all the difficulty to get gasoline, to get food, to get medicine. So this is the proof that this very, very modest building, it's very, very simple, very basic building, has the strength to resist in a war. And I also believe that because of really the somehow the solidity of the construction of the building has been the somehow one of the secret that helps to survive um, during the war. Can you imagine to have beautiful glass facade during a bombing? Well, how do they ended up?
yeah,
And so that's I think the best prize I got of this building that I love. That is, I mean, and on, for instance, the on the right there is this white building is the prayer and meditation chapel that Gino Strada want for all the religion that at that time were present in Sudan, the Muslim, the Christian, the animist, and so just a sign of peace that became a building.
I remember I asked you a lot before about universal design. I think that I just received the the answer. Um, is it your best building so far for now?
I wouldn't say, the buildings are like kids, of the all of them, and for sure this is a building. I mean, not in terms of design, for sure, it's a building of my soul. It's incredible part of my life with the community work there with the engineer of the team, the surgeon, the NGO. I lived for a long time in Sudan, and also I had the great pleasure to meet the Sudanese people that I'm feeling home when I'm going to Sudan. And unfortunately now I'm really feeling sad thinking of how is Sudan right now. So I don't know if it's the best building. I don't care. In fact, it's for sure a building I really love.
Yeah. Um, Talking about the common good, you did the Italian Biennale pavilion in Venice Biennale 2016, and it was about exactly this topic, which is progress, opportunity, inclusion, and you name it, taking care. So on this exact message of the common good, if we are talking 10 years later after you did this pavilion, do you think architecture, beyond the what's happening in the world right now, do you think architecture is really moving closer to the common good, or we are further away from it?
um, I think that the Italian pavilion, that was the Biennale of Alejandro Aravena, for sure has been a great recognition of what it's called impact design, architecture for social good. So it has been worldwide recognized a community of architects that put the people and the needs of people as the first point in terms of design, and then building comes later. And so this has been an extraordinary recognition. And from that, I think that there is a new sensibility about the impact design, the design as a service to the community. There are many courses, there is more and more attention, especially by the younger generation. So I think that after 10 years, for sure, there is definitely a bigger awareness about this, especially from a younger generation. The problem is that the older generation are slipping away from this humanity that where we are living right now. So I think that I really believe that also teaching is part of this sharing to the younger generation that will be the first actor in this big change in the future. So yeah, I think the things are there is definitely a bigger awareness right now.
I'm happy to hear that. Talking about the material playbook that you did before as well, and you tried to introduce to everyone about more like safety, how really to use this sustainability on the best possible way. What do you inform today the young architects, like to think about what, to focus on what, especially in a world where there is a lot of schools of architecture and ways to deal with design. So, what do you want to teach them today, and what is this thing that the schools of architecture are still failing to teach us about architecture?
Well, the experience of working in a place in need. I mean, where you don't have material, you don't have resources, you don't have um, skilled labor. Uh, you get used to go to the essence of the thing, what is
Right.
really need, and this is very successful, of course, in this extreme condition, but it is very successful also in our latitude, where you can choose thousand different material. We are over loaded of information. So what I'm trying to teach to the student is just to go to the essence of life, material need, and just to read through the reality what you consider to be essential. And this comes from this experience of being in place where people are also losing what is essential, when water, electricity, and food. So after this experience, you say, well, okay, saving water, is not just a technique that you have to flag, say, well, saving water, sustainability. It is more an ethic issue about trying to use this resource as at its best. And so also energy, solar panels are not just okay. You have to put solar panel because it's part of the rule that we have in our legislation, or let's say in good practice. It is more an ethical point, because if in a remote village, solar panels allows the kids to study in the evening, the women to work and be trained in the evening, like we did in some project in Senegal. So going to essential means also to look around what is available, and try uh, to design something that is linked to the place and the reality you're dealing with. And so it is part of somehow the idea of citizenship, that is not just to be citizen of the place, the country you live, but you have a much wider view about the to be citizen of the world. That means also to use with parsimony with all with the resources, and so that's basically my message to in the bottle, I would say.
Yeah.
And so this project you're showing, it's part of this work, just to try to go in a place and try to get the resources you have there, and to improve with technology. Technology is not used for itself, but is used for the good of the people, especially of the people in need.
Right. Right. And about I always asked you about the genius loci, or the spirit of the space. And before, you mentioned two places for me to visit. It was Venice, the Piazza, and it was Piazza of Pisa as well.
Hmm.
You mentioned there that you can hear silence. And
Hmm.
during this long journey of researching about the essence, the real essence of architecture, you did several projects regarding spirituality, like this new community church in Italy that we are just showing. So today, Raul, if you want to tell me your opinion about the fundamental input that balances the equation of architecture. So it is really achievable to create a space that lives through all time and space and has a spirit, and what is really spirit means in this context.
You know, the going back to the Salam Center, I think that the whole building is a spiritual building, and uh, very similar to this also because somehow this is a very it's a community church in a very poor area. So it is a building that, like the Salam Center, that have in common, you know, this going to essence of the space, of using the natural light, to using basic volumes. So we strongly believe that is this putting the people central to the project is somehow automatically tackling the spiritual part of the people. So and it's not minimalism, you know, it's essence. These places are full of humanity, full of attention to the community. So spirituality, of course, it's a path that everybody is following as part of his or experience. But architectural can talk of this, let's say, dream about the fact that we are all equal, that there is a dream for the future where we can consider the war like something that simply has shouldn't happen, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, this is spirituality, and so our architecture are just trying to talk of these elements without pretend to be spiritual architecture. They are just very useful architecture. You know, beauty in the Greek way of interpret of the world was beauty and very much linked to the use. You know, so something beautiful has to be something that people can use. So in this idea, I think that we tackle the idea of spirituality.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, Before ending, I want to ask you very quick questions that you can reply in just one word. If I ask you about architecture, what is the unexpected truth of it?
Utopia.
About sustainability, in today's system, it's actual or it's greenwashing.
Anti-capitalism.
And capitalism. Does-
Sustainable.
Yeah, please.
Anti-capitalism.
Okay.
Again, I mean, the point is that the sustainability is very much linked with the capitalist system. We are all also benefiting. I'm not necessarily against, but you know, we have to think deeply about the concept of what is our reality and what we are doing in our reality. Um, Also, all the war we are doing because of oil, you know, we are unfortunately just in the middle of the new war about oil.
Right.
And so sustainability is not an option. It has to be done for the nature, for the future of humanity, for good ethic reasons.
So the third word was capitalism. And
Okay, so answer. It's already there.
yeah.
No, I mean I'm very pragmatic, you know. For a small part of the community of the world, capitalism has been somehow a great benefit.
Yeah.
I'm talking of Italy for in the last 60, 70 years. I think we lived in the most safe, most secure, most wealthy part of the world, you know,
Yeah.
and we benefit of this great privilege. We have to ask ourselves where all these resources were coming from. How can we share this benefit? And probably, Serge Latouche was talking of degrowth, and
Mm.
probably we have definitely to degrowth. So if we're talking of capitalism, I think that we have to recognize all the benefits that we got from this system, but also to recognize all the limit of this system.
That's right.
And so probably we have to go back to a sort of socialism to that is spread all over the world. So that's my view, my utopia.
Yeah. About heritage, it is shaped by space, time, or memory.
Well, for an Italian, heritage is just part of our life. It's time, it's life, it's is the context we live, and I think that is we have to understand that history is part of our life. I just discovered there is a place in city in Venice that is called Fondamenta degli Ormesini. Okay, it's in the city of Venice, and Ormesini comes from the textile that were imported by the Venetian in the 12th century from Hormuz.
Mm.
Okay, so so there was a commercial based of the Venetian at the beginning of in 13th century, 12th century in Hormuz, and there were Hormuz uh, people in Venice, and we are talking about almost 800 years ago. So that's why I talk of we should talk and keep in mind that history is there, and we are linked from a long time with the different, this just is a small example. And so I think that we have to keep in mind this, and because it's part of our life, and that's why I say history, it is something we should keep in mind, because it's has long root very, very far in the past.
Right.
And so genius logic heritage, it's for instance, the Mediterranean Sea. It's if you start to link, there are thousands of links that comes from the Greek before the Greek, and going through the Egyptian, and there was market. There were sharing of culture, and so that's why I say it's we should be more fine
Yeah.
for our future, and to take care a bit more about what we are doing and what we are saying. And I made just this small example of Hormuz because it's unfortunately is our daily headache right now. But we are linked. Also, just being in Italy, but just being in Venice, we are linked to that part of the world.
Right.
Like we are linked to the all the Mediterranean.
Right.
So we should respect a bit more our past.
I agree. About the humanity, are we creators of the future or keepers of memory?
I would say both, you know. We have a responsibility for the next generation to handle a better world. We are doing pretty bad right now. For sure, we are handling to you, to your generation, definitely a more polluted world. And unfortunately, I did try to do my best, but
Good.
we were too few on that. And so we have a responsibility for the future. We have to keep in mind whatever we do, whatever we design, whatever we act, it's a political act. So whether you design a hospital in a war-torn area or you design a villa in the most expensive area in Dubai or New York or in Italy, you have a responsibility on the future of that place, of the people that will use that place, on the violence you might do to a place, to the community that live in the place. So I always say to my student, we as architect, we have a great responsibility
Yeah.
when we design something because you are touching the history of that place, the community that live in that place, the animals that lives in that place, the stones that has been there in that place for millions years. So you have to be soft when you touch the ground, you know, when you put your boots on the ground, okay? Um, you have to be much, much, much softer, and we have that deals with respect. So humanity for me is a respect.
Yeah. And about power, where does the architect's responsibility start and where it ends?
Well, it's your decision, you know. You can say yes to a work, or you can say no. You know, my great teacher of history, Manfredo Tafuri, was saying, architect is like a lawyer. You are always the architect of somebody. You have to decide who is your client, and you can say yes or no. We made our decision. We want to be the architect of that part of the world that is trying to create a better world, and not that part of the world that has as only goal the profit. So I have nothing against the money. I mean, that's part of our life.
Yeah.
But it is very different to be the architect that choose to be on the side of the client that are trying to make a better world than the client that just want to make profit. So that's your decision. You can say yes, you can say no.
Yeah, I fully agree. Thank you. Thank you so much for this podcast. It means a lot to me to be here, and everyone as well is saying hello. Already discussed with them this, and
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to hear your last thoughts. If you want to say anything to the world, we're all ears now and forever.
I mean, you know, I'm just an architect, so and I cannot say how we have to change the world. You know, it's part of my responsibility as an architect to do my best to be soft in the world. You know, I think that we have to be gentle, you know, in what we are doing in the respect of the people, in the respect of the place, in the respect of the genius loci. And you know, in my long experience, also in very strange places, in very places that are totally different from my culture, from my background, my spirituality, my color of skin, everything, you know, that there are more the things that unify the people than the things that separate. It's
Yeah,
just the power that want to push on the difference. But you know, I always remember I was with my poor man in Sudan. You know, he was just a Sudanese. We were just sharing, having it drinking a tea, we're just sharing dreams about the future, and the dreams were quite similar, your children go to a good school, you have a good life, you have good health care, to imagine to have a good house and to have a good job and to be respected and to stay with your family, to have the chance to visit your parents or your family abroad and to be free of say what you want. And it was quite amazing, that we were so different, in social culture. I was the architect, he was a foreman, and we were just drinking a tea, and we had the same utopia for the future, small utopia for the future. So that's why I say the things that unify the people are more than the things that separate the people.
Thank you a lot, Raul. Really, it was amazing.